Enron, formed in 1985 from the merger of two natural gas pipeline companies, Houston Natural Gas and Inner North, was initially a rather unremarkable entity. It operated primarily in the regulated energy market, focusing on the transportation and distribution of natural gas. This foundation, however, would soon be overshadowed by a meteoric rise fueled by ambition, innovation, and ultimately deception. Kenneth Lay, a charismatic and politically well-connected businessman, became the driving force behind Enron's transformation. He envisioned Enron as more than just a utility company. He saw it as a global energy powerhouse. Lay cultivated a culture of innovation and risk-taking, empowering his executives to pursue aggressive growth strategies. Jeffrey Skilling, a former McKinsey consultant, joined Enron in 1990 and quickly rose through the ranks. He brought with him a sharp intellect and a relentless focus on performance. Skilling implemented a rank and yank system, where employees were constantly evaluated and the bottom 15% were fired. This created a fiercely competitive environment where employees were incentivized to prioritize short-term gains over long-term stability or ethical considerations. Skilling's influence permeated Enron's culture. The company became obsessed with growth, setting ambitious targets and rewarding employees who achieved them, regardless of the means. This created a pressure cooker atmosphere where ethical corners were often cut in the pursuit of profit. The deregulation of the energy markets in the 1990s provided Enron with the opportunity it needed to expand beyond its traditional business. The company aggressively lobbied for deregulation, which allowed it to enter new markets and engage in more complex trading activities. Enron pioneered the use of mark-to-market accounting, a practice that allowed them to book potential future profits as current earnings. While this method could be legitimate for some types of trading, Enron abused it to create a distorted picture of its financial health. They made wildly optimistic projections about future energy prices and booked these as immediate profits, even if there was little chance of them materializing. Enron understood the power of perception. They cultivated an image of themselves as a cutting-edge, innovative company, attracting investors and analysts who were eager to be part of the next big thing. This carefully crafted image masked the underlying problems with the company's financials. The booming stock market of the late 1990s further fueled Enron's growth. The company invested heavily in speculative ventures, including broadband services, international power plants, and even weather derivatives. Many of these investments were poorly conceived and ultimately failed, but Enron used creative accounting to hide the losses. Andrew Fastow, Enron's chief financial officer, played a crucial role in the company's fraudulent activities. He was a master of financial engineering, creating a complex web of off-balance sheet entities that were used to hide debt and inflate profits. Enron created a labyrinth of special-purpose entities, SPEs, also known as special-purpose vehicles, SPVs. These were essentially shell companies that existed solely to manipulate Enron's financial statements. Fastow and other Enron executives had a direct financial interest in many of these SPEs, creating a massive conflict of interest. The SPEs were used to hide billions of dollars in debt from Enron's balance sheet. By transferring debt to these off-balance sheet entities, Enron could make its financial picture look much rosier than it actually was. This deception allowed the company to maintain its credit rating and continue to attract investors. The SPEs were also used to inflate Enron's profits. By engaging in sham transactions with the SPEs, Enron could book fictitious profits and make it appear as though the company was performing much better than it actually was. One of the most infamous SPEs was Chuco, which was managed by Fastow. Chuco was used to hide massive losses from Enron's balance sheet and to engage in related party transactions that benefited Fastow and other Enron insiders. Arthur Andersen, Enron's auditor, was complicit in the company's fraud. They not only approved the misleading financial statements, but also actively helped to conceal the truth. The close relationship between Andersen and Enron, with many Andersen employees moving to Enron, further compromised their independence. Sharon Watkins, an Enron vice president, wrote a now famous memo to Ken Lay in August 2001, warning him that Enron was a financial time bomb and that its accounting irregularities could lead to its collapse. Watkins' memo, which was leaked to the media, played a crucial role in exposing the fraud. As questions about Enron's finances mounted, investors began to sell off their shares. The stock price, which had peaked at over $90, plummeted rapidly. Employees, who had been encouraged to invest their retirement savings in Enron stock, watched in horror as their savings evaporated. The Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, launched an investigation into Enron's accounting practices. The investigation uncovered the complex web of SPEs and the fraudulent accounting techniques that had been used to inflate the company's financial results. In December 2001, Enron filed for bankruptcy, the largest bankruptcy in U.S. history at the time. The bankruptcy left thousands of employees jobless and wiped out billions of dollars in shareholder value. Top Enron executives, including Lay, Skilling, and Fastow, were indicted on charges of fraud, insider trading, and conspiracy. Arthur Andersen was also charged with obstruction of justice for destroying Enron-related documents. The trials of the Enron executives captivated the nation. The prosecution presented evidence of widespread fraud and deception, revealing the lengths to which the executives had gone to inflate their company's stock price and enrich themselves. Skilling and Lay were ultimately convicted on multiple counts of fraud and conspiracy. Fastow, who cooperated with the prosecution, received a reduced sentence. Arthur Andersen, once one of the Big Five accounting firms, was found guilty of obstruction of justice. The conviction effectively destroyed the firm, which had been a major player in the accounting industry for decades. The Enron scandal led to the passage of the Sarbanes-Oxley Act of 2002, a landmark piece of legislation aimed at improving corporate governance and financial reporting. The act increased the responsibility of corporate executives and auditors and imposed stricter penalties for financial fraud.